Hi everyone. I wanted to to you a little bit about the different types of trees that we have. We've been studying trees in science and as part of project time. And the two different types of trees we have is this word right here is deciduous. Go ahead and say that, deciduous. You see how that C makes the S sound? Deciduous trees. Okay, now deciduous trees are most of the trees out there that we see. There are maple trees, our elm trees, our hemlock trees, our oak trees, and there's all different types of maple trees. There are beech trees and also birch trees. Those would all be deciduous. And let's look at the definition of what deciduous is. They have broad, flat leaves. Broad means wide. Okay, they're not, and this would be narrow, but broad would be wide leaves. If you picture like a maple leaf, it's a broad leaf, it's a wide leaf, or an oak leaf. Okay, and they're flat. Okay, they're not like all curled up or in these crazy, three-dimensional shapes. They're flat. Okay, and deciduous trees drop the leaf once per year, and here where we live, the leaves get dropped in October into early November, so the autumn into the winter, okay, is when they drop their leaves, and then we know in the spring they regrow their leaves back, which is what's happening right now. So here's a little arrow I draw to that to say that these are broad, wide, flat leaves, and you can see I drew a little picture of that one. Okay, now let's take us to the other type of tree, and those are called coniferous trees. Everyone say coniferous. And you see how it has that same type of ending at the end? Coniferous is how we say O-U-S, trees. And they have small needle-like leaves. Okay, they retain, which means keep. Retain and keep are the same word. The needles year-round. So their needles never fall on the ground. We've all had or have had friends who have a Christmas tree and we see the needles fall off of those trees. Sometimes it doesn't mean needles don't fall off the trees because they're old or the wind blows them off or whatever. But with a Christmas tree, it's no longer a live tree, right? The tree's been cut from its base, so it's drying out. And that's why you'll see Christmas trees often shed a lot of their little needles. Okay, they're also known as conifers. That's a C right there. I don't know if that came out clearly, or pine trees, we know them as too. And I made a little arrow here that says small needle leaves. You like my pictures? I hope you like them. If anybody needs a tip on how to draw these, I can do that, but it would have taken me a lot of time to draw these on video. And I want you to do exactly what I did here. I want you to write the word deciduous trees along the top. I want you to copy these definitions, and I want you to draw your own picture of what each of these look like. Now, it doesn't have to look exactly like this. I just want this information on here, and you're going to draw your tree the way you want to draw it. And there are a lot of different deciduous type of trees. Actually, I'll attach a PDF that shows different types of deciduous and coniferous trees, so if you want to use those as inspiration, you can. Okay, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to take us outside to look in my yard at the difference between these two trees up close. Okay, here we are in my yard. You can hear the birds singing. You can hear my neighbor mowing his grass in the background. You see I have a whole line of these coniferous trees, and then over there I have a whole other section of coniferous trees as well. Let's get up close on these. It's really hard for me to see through my viewfinder right now because it's really bright out here, but these would be an example of those small needle-like leaves. They're small, they're narrow, and they can hurt some of these sometimes if you grab them the wrong way. This is a pretty soft conifer type of leaf, but if you look at something like a blue spruce or more of a Christmas tree type of tree, theirs are a lot more bristly and kind of rough on your fingers, and they can really dig into your fingers and hurt them. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that quickly, but do you see how if I zoom out here a little bit, they have that basic triangle shape to them. okay, which is one of the characteristics of a coniferous tree, is a triangle shape to them. Okay, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to show you a deciduous tree. Okay, now this is a really old maple tree. I can come up next to it maybe and I'll show you in a moment how big it is, but that trunk is much larger than my body. And you see how it is now growing its leaves now? And it's such a large tree. That big, large part up there, that whole big, bushy part at the top, that's called the crown. Of course, this is called the trunk of the tree. And that is the bark of the tree. And I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on any of these leaves. This is very difficult to see, but I'm gonna see if I can zoom in and show you. You see how it has these broad, flat leaves? Now these leaves aren't fully formed yet because it's early in the spring, but right in the center of the video there, you can see those are some of the seeds for the maple tree. And it deposits its seeds on the ground, and that can grow more maple trees. And let me see if there's any of those on the ground. Okay, ready? I'm gonna go on the ground. And yep, here we go. Here's some of those seeds, okay, from a maple tree. These come down in a helicopter type of way. You see here's a more complete set of them. You see how there's two of them? And when they fall down, they'll spin, and they'll go and they kind of, that allows the wind to carry them to more distant places. Sometimes when these things come off, they can fly, 50 feet, a few hundred yards away or something. But these seeds coming into the ground would help a new tree to grow. And that's how we ensure that these trees continue to grow. But let me come up closer to this tree. And I'm just gonna put my hand on it. This gives you an idea of how large this tree is. I mean, look at the base of this tree. Let me turn this around. I don't know if you can see me in it. Let me just try this. Okay, I don't have my selfie stick with me, which helps me get these wide views, but do you see how large this tree is? I mean, really, from here to here is more than the length of my arm, which is pretty crazy. So this is a very large maple. I have a bunch of these on my property, and I'm thankful that when they made this neighborhood, they kept a lot of these big old trees. And you can see this is a very rough bark. You can see here some of the bark is stripping away, but a lot of the bark here is really, really rough. And we know that the bark helps protect these trees from disease, from insects, from birds pecking holes in them, and such things such as that. So that's about it. I just wanted to give you a quick video introduction of these trees that we're studying. This is a deciduous tree, and wow, look at how massive this tree is. I mean, I can't describe how tall or how big it is, but it's so beautiful. I love this tree. All right, that's about it for now. Enjoy your science and study of trees. I can't wait to see your pictures. Bye.